I'm going to talk about some interesting things today, and that would be this coalition that we have going on, the coalition named Operation Prosperity Guardian. And this includes Bahrain, Canada, France, Italy, the Netherlands, Norway, Spain, Seychelles, and the United Kingdom, with front runner the United States. And in the last couple of hours, we've been joined by India. My question is, how is this not World War III? I'm being serious. Just ask yourselves these same questions with all of these war players coming on into the play. I'm just wondering, how is this not World War III to me? Now, we sent the chef in from South Park, as you see, and he's going to be talking to Vladdy P, and he's talking to good old Benjamin Netanyahu. But we had Giorgia Meloni of Italy basically say, look, Houthis, you have kind of, she doesn't watch Houthis and the Blowfish, so she's pretty much not a fan of this stuff, and she's going after stuff. And the chef of South Park here, same thing, he's not a big fan of the Houthis either. And so these reckless Houthi attacks are happening basically every 12 hours, and they've happened since we've formed this coalition. And it's all in the name of all the Arab states that are supporting the free Palestine. So as I said, this is going to happen. This is going to be a religious war, and they're already embarking on every channel they can, meaning right now the channel is the Suez Canal, the Red Sea, and those are the areas where we're going to have serious confrontations. Just look at all the activity that's happening behind me. But I don't want that to be the smoke screen to change the real subject at hand. A lot of people are like, why aren't you covering this so much, Chris? And I'm like, well, honestly, this is what these people do all the time. And the death rate's relatively low. There's just a lot of action, a lot of bullets, but the death rate is way lower than the death rate here at home with the fentanyl crisis and the illegal drugs from China that have affected the United States. In fact, every day we have 273 some odd people that die here at home. So when I look at a war, if I'm covering a war and I hear about, 20 people died over there in Israel. Well, multiply those numbers and turn them into 270, 300, and now we're talking about the states and the same numbers we have here at home in the United States. And the real crisis that we're fighting, that our government is denying us help on, is the border crisis. And just yesterday, and this is in Eagle Pass, 4,000 plus some odd illegal aliens were being inundated. Finally, the governor of Texas is responding, but every single one of them is in a constant, look at this behind me. This is the way Eagle Pass is looking. And there's a simple solution, and it's called bullets. Yeah, just use bullets and say scram, get lost. Go back to your own place, you deadbeats. And if you want to come here, we got a process. There's a lot of people that are married to Americans that are going through this process, so pick up your crap and leave. It's not like being bad. Jesus even said, pick up your mat and walk. So we need to tell them the same thing. Hey, Pedro, pick up your mat and walk, or wherever you're from. And if you can't pledge allegiance to the flag and you don't know what that's about, you're not welcome here. Okay, so this is real stuff. This is our real war. They want to talk about vaccines, but none of these people here behind me are vaccinated. In fact, they've got every single thing you can think of. Okay? And it's out of control. Okay, so these are all freezing to death. What you're seeing is these people that are freezing to death are wearing those Mylar sheets. So it's hard to even tell what you're looking at, but those are basically people that are covered in those silver lining sheets. But let me just say something. These are people from the equator or from hot countries that have never experienced the cold, ever. And it hasn't even started yet. And so that's something that New York and all these other places need to consider. And if you're an illegal migrant and you've never been in snow, you can't remain outdoors. And so this is just something that our government is really going over. Now, I'm going to take us out in outer space for a second, because sometimes things that are in outer space, could be even affecting what we got going on here. And there's if you look out in the sky, you'll see those three stars in alignment. That's called Orion's belt. But then off to the side of one of them is a super huge planet called Betelgeuse. And Betelgeuse is so big that it's like from the center of the sun all the way out to Jupiter. That's pretty massive, ain't it? Well, 700 and some odd years ago, this massive planet could have gone supernova, and we don't know that. But just in the last month, it got 2.5 times brighter. So I'm bringing that to your attention because simultaneously, the sun gave us a black spot, which was major, and then we had Iceland just fill up and go kaboom, and several of the other ones. And I'm thinking, well, we could all be interrelated somehow. And so we could witness Betelgeuse go supernova, and that means it went supernova a long time ago, but yet it's finally coming out here to get to us. But at the same time, those cosmic rays and everything else could be making things go on in a bad way. Okay? Speaking of a bad way, I want to show you what Orange Man bad looks like. Okay? So we got Mars, and that's bad, but we've got planets that are bad, and we've got an Orange Man bad. Oh, yeah, we do. And then we got an Orange Man good. Now, hey, I've got to get onto this type of stuff because the nation never knows. Someone's got to bring this to you. Got to cut through the fog right here. We do have an Orange Man bad. We have an Orange Man good. And so, Orange Man bad, that is Orange Man bad right there. Okay? And no matter how you slice it, that was when we were on the whole entire Orange Man ABCDLMNOPQ destroying America. And just had to bring that to you because we go from bad times to good times. And yeah, that's Orange Man bad right there. I don't know if you're fooled. I'm certainly not fooled. This right here, this is Orange Man good with watermelon balls. Balls the size of watermelons. That's right, my fellow Americans. And if you want to know why I call him that, it's because he single-handedly went and diffused the Korean War, Part 2, with those watermelons. And I never know what he's going to say, but I think everybody misses America's favorite grandpa, and can't be just me, Anyways, that's the only thing we got going for us here in the United States of America. All right, so besides the supernova of that going on, I wanted you to know that Texas finally has started to protect the citizens of Texas. So the handicapped governor probably heard the word that, hey, there's millions of us that know that you're violating the United States Constitution. There is a supremacy clause, and by not having that border, Governor Abbott, you're violating the general welfare of everybody in Texas, and therefore you're violating the Constitution of the United States of America. So he got on his wheelchair and wheelchaired out because he loves these press conferences, and where he's doing something that a child could have done. Yes, a child would have done this, sir. 20 years ago, built the border wall. You have so much oil and gas money from me and the likes of all of my friends in the oil and gas industry. This could have been 20 times over. So let's pat on the back the handicapped governor for the state of Texas, who's finally going to do something obvious, start arresting illegal aliens. So that's becoming law, and it should be law in every single state of the United States of America, because Therefore, you're following the general welfare and the supremacy clause of the Constitution of the United States of America. So he's out there talking, but I could really give a rat's about what he's got to say, because it just reminds me of, like, after seeing him after the 5th Texas school shooting. And yeah, it's just basically just a whole bunch of hogwash. Nothing to hear, nothing to say, but I'm glad it's getting done. So Iceland has got the volcano going off. At the same time, China just had a pretty massive earthquake happen. No kidding. So they're scrambling around in China. They say hundreds are dead. So in China, if they're saying hundreds are dead in China, that's Jesus. Could be 100,000, because they're never transparent on anything. Chinese and transparency, that's kind of like looking through a brick wall. It does not exist. And if there is ever a dictator in the world with an iron fist, his name would be Xi Jinping. So they are looking for their dead in China. And I wanted you to know that. And the volcano that's going like crazy out there in Iceland is, man, it's evacuated the city, but it gave us the signs we needed to know. It literally lifted the city up by, a whole foot before it went off. And so now it's, they're pumping seawater into it. And as you can see, here's a map of what's going on from Svartskenti and everything. But basically this whole entire area in the middle, as you can see, has been completely wiped out. And the magma is still filling it up and then moving in both directions. And so then we had a live post of that last night, but it's been incredible as far as what's going on. And if you don't know, yes, there's a major eruption that's been happening out there in Iceland, and at the same time, earthquakes in China. And again, I suspect we could probably be seeing some plate tectonic action everywhere. We even had an earthquake up in Oklahoma, and there's just a lot of interesting things that are going on. And yeah, it could be all related. So again, the Houthis are really going at it right now. They're trying to set it off. All of the people are joining sides right now. And by that, what I mean is we just had India join sides with the United States and Italy. So that would be 11 nations now that are joining forces, except they're joining forces against the other side that says Hezbollah and Allah Akbar. So when they're saying Hezbollah, that actually means in God's way. And so again, to me, this almost looks like a unification of Christianity and Judaism versus Islam. And that's all I can say. It's and we have the chef from South Park out there shaking hands with Benjamin Netanyahu. The only key player out there would be Giorgia Meloni out of Italy. But again, what this is proving is that Italy and all of Europe very much so rely on the trade coming out of the Suez Canal. And so will that spark off World War III? That's just something to consider. I want you to also know that the tensions in Taiwan are at an ultra high. North Korea is setting off bombs, and that's because little Kim, he's just as upset as you and I are. He wants Dennis Rodman. He wants Donald Trump. He wants America back just as badly as you and I do. And he's probably willing to ignite the world on behalf of it. But, more power out to the dictators out there that love Donald Trump. And as far as to the ones that love Joe Biden, well, you're seeing it unplay just right in front of our eyes. That'd be the business relationship between Jackwagon Joe and Xi Jinping. And that's what this is right here. So Hezbollah is dragging Lebanon into the Gaza war and the Red Sea attacks. The Houthis are lining stuff up. That is the smokescreen that all the media wants you to see. They don't want you to concentrate on the fact that we completely lost the war in the Ukraine and that now our precision-guided munitions don't work. I think that the Chinese claw satellite and clone satellite and bomb satellite has been used successfully to annihilate our GPS coordinated precision guided munitions during times of combat. That's why Israel is using dumb bombs at the current moment. So we can thank Sleepy Joe for these things. And again, we need Orange Man Good back into the office like pretty much tomorrow. If we're going to get attacked, it's going to be now. And when you look at the streets of Los Angeles, San Francisco, 80 to 90% of all the buildings are empty. When you go into Vegas, same thing. I mean, 80 to 90% of all the small retail stores out there were just empty. That's pretty shocking. But what that tells me is that people don't have money to spend. The only people that have money to spend are Zelensky, Pelosi, Newsom. Just ask good old Uncle Chuck and everybody else. But they want to back this stuff behind us, and I want to tell you, don't. Yeah, it's not about, oh, I believe in Israel. I'm going to say don't back the Jews on this. We have another war. It's the war on poverty. We have another war. It's the war on our borders being open. We have another war. It's this war on chemical drugs from China. That's right. 273 some odd deaths a day. Over 109,000 people have already died in the United States just this year. When are we going to open up our eyes and see that our government has been working with the enemy? Whether it's through diseases, through drugs, they want to say that they're there to protect us while they're flooding our borders open, letting in sick and diseased people. Then they want to fight these unnecessary wars and give us the bill. Then they want to watch us grow old and die on the streets. What about taking care of us when we grow old while we're dying on the streets? Or is just it more easy to give us a pill and let us fade away with fentanyl? Is it more easy for us to get involved in a religious war? This war behind us was about 640 years old when Jesus was walking the grounds. And these are the things that I want you to know about, because whether it's, Edward Snowden or Julian Assange, we have another major problem that's happening here in the United States. Now, with our foods, I believe they can put certain metallic ingredients, graphenes, titanium dioxides, graphene oxides. This is graphene right here that's replicating itself under 5G radiation. And I wanted to show this to you because it's pretty interesting, isn't it? Watching it doing a molecular combination of itself. Now, the reason why I'm showing this to you is because if you ingest a lot of this and then you're exposed to the radiation, well, then it has the ability to bind itself together inside of itself like this, inside of you. Again, it's like through our synthesized foods, you can have all these parts. Then under 5G, I want you to look at this. It has the ability to bind itself together, and when it does, this itself could be the weapon that causes clotting. This is the one that can cause sudden deaths. They could put this in our foods. A lot of our meats are going to China and coming back, even from our major United States food processing plants. We don't know everything that they're putting in it. I had a young man quit on me, and he quit under the fact that they were wanting to use his USDA stamp on meats and then send it back. You heard me right, send it back to China and then package it and put different trade names for the United States on top of it. Okay, so this is a new war that we're fighting here, and I just want you to know that it exists. And yeah, there's graphenes that we just can't compete against. Again, they can put all that in our food, and there's nothing that we can do about it. Okay? So let me try to get back onto it again. And this would be onto the graphene. If it does let me play it, we'll see. And this is another one in how it responds to magnets. So some of it can respond to 5G, and this is graphene liquid responding to magnets. So if we ingest a lot of this in our processed foods, okay, the 5G can replicate itself to where it can basically make it create something that could stroke you. With the magnetic impulses or whatever, they can also bind these materials up. And yes, we can ingest this stuff in our processed food. Is this a war weapon that China could use? These are just things I want you to think about, because I think that the satellite, I think that the CubeSats, I think that the FOBs, fractional orbital bombardment system, are all things combined with injections that are weapons courtesy of the CCP for you and me. Okay? There's one country that we got to be concerned about. It's China. And these are all the weapons of China. From graphene, from vaccines, okay, to 5G, being weaponized with CubeSats, everything that you're seeing. And now they're offering it to where you can go free to China, okay? Free to China without a passport, visa, nothing, just your ID and get there. And I'm saying, no, the reason why they're doing that is because they want to spread a disease around. I don't trust them as far as I can throw them at all. And I don't think you should either. There's major stuff that's going on, and we need to be concerned about it 100%. The way in which they're making graphene, the way in which they're able to put it in foods, and the way in which we're able to eat it, it can't happen like this anymore. So China has launched this space drone swarm attack on our satellites. I'm going to go over this again in detail. They have a claw satellite, they have a cloned satellite, and they have a bomb satellite. I'm suggesting they've done that, and that's why our precision-guided munitions are not working at the current moment. And that's also why Israel's using dumb bomb ordinances, because something's not happening with our smart bomb ordinances. What's happened is these are the CubeSats. They're microwave ovens that are in conjunction with the Chinese AI. This is the way in which they want to just see us there and zap our brains with these microwave ovens that they've got scattered throughout outer space. We became aware of these when Putin used Iskandar to basically knock one of his own satellites out of orbit in outer space. Now, what you're seeing is the CubeSats going on an ejaculation out of a cylinder where they've got 35,000 to 38,000 of these babies out there. This is why they were using the spy balloons. This is why they're scanning Hawaii. This is their weapon. It's not conventional, no. So they've already got things inside of us with basically graphenes. They already have another International Space Station. They already have their weapons in outer space. Couple of different kinds. They got CubeSats in outer space ready to zap us with this computer system, and they got FOBs, the Fractional Orbital Bombardment System. That's FOBS. You can go ahead and Google it. Chinese Fractional Orbital Bombardment System. It will scare the living crap out of you. They've already got the nukes in outer space. They're ready just to fall out of the sky, but so do we. We got these conventional puppies like you're seeing here, but we got those small things right there that look like basically the satellites and the little space shuttles. Those are actually nukes from the United States government in outer space. So we've been one step ahead of them, but they've been putting their numbers up there pretty hard, and we got to compete with them. This is what's going on. This is major news that's going on, so that you know that what we're fighting right here is real. Okay? And it's like nothing that we've ever seen before. So we got to be vigilant. We need to bring our troops back from Syria. Senator Rand Paul inactivated the 1973 War Powers Act. I suggest that all the senators and all the congressmen understand that our war is here at home. We need to get the fentanyl off the streets. We need to return everything from China. This is the Claw satellite from China that you're seeing behind me. It's grabbed satellites. The first satellite they saw grabbing was in Australia. then after Australia, they went over to other countries to move their satellites. This is why our war weaponry is not working in outer space. So they invented this claw satellite to move their non-working satellites to the satellite graveyard. To some of you, I'm repeating myself. To some of you, this is the first time, and I hope the sound is better. But people need to know that our satellites are being moved, they're being cloned, and they're being bombed. That's correct. So you see what they're using to move our satellites. What you're going to see next is what they're using to bomb our satellites. They invented a bomb arm, and it's just amazing. And no one else is talking about it. It should be major news, but right there, as you can see, that is a bomb satellite. Now, these are the orbiting directions of satellites. And so they're trying to justify why they're wanting to use this thing. But it's all so that they can take advantage of us in outer space while we got basically the grown-up version of Butthead from Beavis and Butthead running the White House. Or excuse me, Beavis. So there's another war weapon, and that would be a direct energy weapon that they have up there. And this right here behind me is the bomb satellite. So right here, this little green thing right there, that's the bomb. Okay, and it moves inside of the after thrusters of our satellites. Why do the Chinese know this? Because they helped build it. So it fits in there just like you're seeing. And it makes us think that, we didn't put reconnaissance on our after thrusters or cameras to know that China was doing this, but we actually caught them doing this. And it makes our stuff believe that it's been short-circuited. Go figure. So there you go. And so this is China's